A very warm welcome to you, Doctor. Thank you for joining today and giving your time for this specialty marathon on internal medicine. So today we'll be speaking about the specialty, which is internal medicine. Dr. Anushri is the guest speaker for today. Doctor, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Anushri and I'm working as a consultant physician in Sagar Hospitals, Bangalore. So I'm currently working in medical ICU, so where we take care of really sick patients. So to just go how I did my MBBS, I completed my MBBS in 2016 from Raichur, and then I did my MD internal medicine in from JJM, and then I did my MRCP in 2020. So this has been my journey. I was working as an SR and AP in Gujarat Adani Institute of Medical Science, where we saw a lot of pathologies. So this has been my journey, and yeah, internal medicine is a wonderful branch. It's always like a puzzle at the end of the day where I go back.
Could you please give an insight about what is internal medicine and how this specialty is useful? Like if the doctor chooses it, how difficult it is, how challenging it is, and how smooth it is?
Yeah, so when we were giving our NEET PG exam, so internal medicine was one of the competitive branches to get in. So you have to have a good rank to get into internal medicine. So radiology, even though it has been the top specialty where most of the toppers actually join, but since radiology doesn't have the patient to doctor interaction, so it's not favored by many. uh, Ultimately, many doctors look that they should have a fruitful patient doctor relationship, and that is given by internal medicine. And then coming to the variety of cases that you will see in internal medicine, it is huge. So you will get to see all sorts of pathologies. You will be the primary person diagnosing most of the things. So, and you will be the person who's correlating everything. So internal medicine is like a wonderful branch. So currently internal medicine is going top second or top third branch in India. uh, People who are looking for a very uh, good work life balance, they usually go for radiology. But medicine, the work life balance, at least in the initial years, is not much, because you will have night duties, and because so many people who come under this category, like there are so many people.
Doctor, could you please like describe, is this specialty divided into different branches, or it's like internal medicine has a one branch itself?
Okay, so let me talk about the curriculum of internal medicine. When one resident starts his internal medicine journey, so he will have to take care of the inpatient and outpatient setting and ICU casualty. So he's going to be posted in the casualty for few months, and then in the ICU for few months, and then in outpatient department for few months, and inpatient. So usually how it was in JJM was, we were divided into units. So where on Monday, let's say, the doctor used to go sit in the outpatient department, where from 9 to 5 he used to do the outpatient, uh, uh, and then he used to come down and look at all the new admissions in the inpatient, and then night duty where he took care of the casualty. So thereby, you get to see all the parts of internal medicine. And internal medicine, in second year, you will have electives, where you will be posted under different subspecialties of internal medicine. Like it can be cardiology, it can be gastroenterology, it can be oncology, endocrinology, rheumatology, nephrology. So in most of the colleges, you will get an exposure towards cardiology, nephrology, endocrinology. In India, rheumatology, oncology, in most of the hospitals, you will not find the exact exposure. So if you're looking into super specializing it, make sure during your electives you ask for an oncology rotation or a rheumatology rotation if you are interested. Otherwise, the bulk of the cases mainly come are like cardio, infectious diseases, endocrine, and nephrology. Yeah, this forms like a major bulk of internal medicine cases.
Okay, doctor. So, doctor, if any doctor chooses internal medicine, what are the career opportunities for them? Like, how is the work-life balance for them? And if they choose government hospitals or private hospitals, like, what will run better for them?
Yeah, so mainly the job market for internal medicine is huge. So any person who has graduated from internal medicine will find a job, that is for sure. So let's say if the person wants to go into a medical college, he wants to do his senior residency. In central institutes, the senior residency is for 3 years, and whereas in private institutes and in other state-run university programs, it is for 1 year, and followed by which he'll be promoted to assistant professor. And then assistant professor, usually I think 3 or 4 years, along with publications, and then you'll be promoted to associate. Associate is 2 years. With publications, you can be promoted to professor and then HOD. And this journey of IM graduate through the medical college is very fruitful because you get to interact with all the medical students, and you get to do a lot of research, and you're always trying to improve yourself because you're ultimately in an academic setting. But the only drawback of this pathway is you don't get to earn much. The starting salaries for senior residency would be like 80 to 1 lakh, 80,000 to 1 lakh, and the assistant professor, it would range from 1 to 1.25, and that pay scale stays for like 4 years. So with maybe with a small increase of 1 or 2% per year. And then once you go to associate, that's when you start to see big money. Like you can expect a salary of around 2 lakhs. And professors usually are the highest earning incomes. They start to make around 3 lakhs. But it's a journey, right? It takes quite an amount of time to get to the professor and associate professor level. And with promotions guaranteed, like if your college is kind enough to promote you at adequate times. There are so many colleges like Kasturba Medical College, or even in fact JGM, because there are so many staff who are staying there, and they don't get promoted even after 5 years of AP as well. So that's why you should be in a college which promotes you, and secondly, you should be in a place where which actually values you. Okay, so that is the academic pathway, but it's very fulfilling, and you keep updating yourself, so it's an extremely fulfilling journey if you're not in for the money. And then we have the private practice, where as soon as you graduate, you go into the private practice, you join private hospitals. That again depends. If you are in a tier 1 city, the starting salaries can be 1 lakh to 1.25 lakhs. And as your practice builds up, you can the infinity is, you can make as much as money as you want depending on your work hours. But and then if you are going to a tier 3 city, the starting salary is minimum 2 lakhs, but again that depends on your negotiation skills. Okay, like if you go to a tier 3 where you're this whole and soul doctor and there's no one else around, you can make around 3 lakhs. Then again, because you deal with so many pathologies, you have to be really extremely good in your residency, that you are confident to handle most of the pathologies, because internal medicine is one branch where the senior help is always appreciated. Okay, and also because medical technology is so much advanced, and you entire 3 cities, you might not have the best medical facilities, and you might not have adequate support staff in terms of nurses and other things. So it's always, they don't, you have to be very very careful in selection of cases. That's what selection of cases, that's what makes the practice very good. Suppose in private practice is more of results, right? Like you have to give your results. There has to be output. They don't understand. He's a COPD for 15 years and he's not improving. Is not doctor's fault. They always comment that, we went to this doctor and the patient died. So you have to be very careful in private setup on what cases that you're choosing to treat. And then we have the third category where it's kind of you join corporate hospitals, like how I'm doing, like where you join corporate hospitals where you don't have to worry about how to get the patients, but the corporate is going to worry about that, and you are at a fixed salary basis or fixed with incentive basis. So that again depends corporate culture, if you are okay with it. Like at the end of the day, corporate culture is more like they can fire you any day, but it's more systematic and you're going to get your salary on time. The calculations with this respect to salaries are all perfect. The thing is that you never know when you're out of job and when they can replace you. So that's how the corporate works. Corporate salaries also are very similar to the private practice. You start at around 1.5 and then you take it from there. It all depends on how popular you get, how do you do your marketing, and how much revenue you are in corporate setting. And some people, I've seen many IM doctors who work in the morning, can start their own small practice like a clinic or an inpatient setup, and then they work here for 3 or 4 hours and then they start generating revenue as the practice increases. So it's all depends on how do you want to go about your career and how much work life balance are you looking at. So in IM, after your residency, you always have flexibility to choose your timings. You always can tell, I can work 9 to 5, that's it. Or, if you want to build your practice, build your name in the community, you might have to work harder. And working harder is usually fulfilling and rewarding. So you are going to, earn good amount of money if you're working really hard. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Last question, like how is like patient handling in this field? Is it like, do doctors should be very patient, or it's like how is the scenario when it comes to patient handling?
Yeah, so it all depends on the personality. So it's very important that you choose internal medicine if your personality aligns with it. Because what I do feel, if your work feels like work, then you're not going to succeed. If your work actually feels like enjoyment, then it's kind of easy, right, to work harder. So based on that, what I do think is, you have to be a chatty personality, because IM doctors have the closest relationship with their patients, and it's ultimately not the nephrologist what he says. It's ultimately not the surgeon what he says. I have so many people who I've encountered in my practice that who ultimately say, like, what's your take on this? Like, should I get this surgery for the gallstones? Should I get this pancreatic surgery? Should I undergo a mammogram? Ultimately, most of the suggestions that an internal medicine person gives is highly valued, in fact, and they kind of develop a personal bond over the years with patients. So hence you should be someone who was able to give time to your patients. You should talking should not drain you much. I know at the end of the day everybody gets tired, but having an extrovert personality can help in your practice. And yeah, because the times are changing. There was times where there used to be one internal medicine doctor for the whole village. That time people didn't have an option but to go to that person. But now there's a lot of competition everywhere in every branch. So to stand out, you have to be patient centric, you have to be patient and you have to be empathetic towards the patients. And also I would tell them that it's a long journey, because sometimes internal medicine can get saturated, and if you want to settle in good tier 1 cities, then you have to look at super specialty degrees, like and gastroenterology, cardiology, nephrology, rheumatology, oncology. So all these are like excellent branches. They have great scope. Any branch you pick in, you can succeed, because internal medicine is like the first stone in your ultimate branch is DM. So it's very fulfilling, because you first understand the whole picture of the subject, and then you specialize in a single thing. So super specialty branches are like super specialty in my opinion is a must if you want to settle in a corporate setup, if you want to settle in a tier 1 city. And the starting salaries for super specialties will be minimum 2 to 3 lakhs. But then again, you're spending your 3 additional years in doing those degrees. Yeah. And yeah, and I want to just tell, the place where you do your internal medicine also matters. Suppose, let's say, you do in a place which hardly shows you any pathologies, hardly there are patients, then you ultimately end up not being a good doctor, because you have not seen it firsthand to experience it, right? So try to inquire whenever you're choosing your college, does this college has a good amount of pathologies, what is the inpatient number, what is the outpatient number, so how many patients are you going to see in the whole 3 years. So try to do a rough estimate, and try to choose your college wisely, because in India it's more like only the first years work very hard, and then the second year and third year usually the schedule is easy peasy. So yeah, but the central institutes, if you're like looking at AIMS, PGI and JIPMER, so there they usually have a fixed set of duties for everyone. So like PGY1 has to do this one, and then the second year resident has to do this one, and the duties are well divided. But then when it comes to the state run hospitals, it's kind of different. So it is usually the R1 does all the heavy lifting, and then the R2 and R3, it's relatively, the lifestyle is pretty okay. So yeah, and I also want to say, people who are with families, you can definitely manage an internal medicine residency, because it is it's not very as hectic as general surgery, and not as still as radiology. But then I would like to put it somewhere in the middle, but very fulfilling. I mean, you get to make contacts with most of the people in the hospital, so you are the most popular doctor in the place. So yeah, so ultimately everybody wants a bite of you. So yeah, it's a very fulfilling journey if your aim is not money, and if it's somewhere in between, like, so on the scale of 0 to 10, I think an IM doctor makes around 6 or 7. Yeah, radiology is very fulfilling in terms of financial prospects, but the only thing that radiology lacks is a patient interaction. So that internal medicine can give you. So if you're looking at somewhat moderate branch in terms of money, satisfaction and academics, so internal medicine is a very good choice.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you for answering all the questions. And do you want to give any last message to the doctors when they see the video?
Yeah, so when you guys are choosing your branch, you have to be very careful. I always say try to choose your branch that aligns with your personality. Internal medicine, if you're interested in research, then internal medicine is a great branch, because there are many people, many pharma companies, many research companies actually want internal medicine expertise. If you are someone who is looking to study for another 3 years, do your super specialty, then internal medicine is great. Okay. And thirdly, if you're someone who hates surgeries, if you're someone who hates standing for long, internal medicine is your best bet. And if you have like a really empathetic personality, if you love people, love talking about their problems, then you should choose internal medicine. Yeah, and also don't be worried about the competition out there, because lots and lots of opportunities are there for internal medicine, job opportunities. And like I said, most of the CEOs of the hospital, most of the hospital administrators are internal medicine doctors, because in the due course of your career, they become so popular in the hospital setting, they ultimately end up managing the hospital, or ultimately taking over a hospital and then managing it. So you do develop a lot of patient skills, lot of interpersonal skills. So IM is a great branch. So I personally love it. My journey has been very fruitful. And if you are into academics, and if you love teaching someone, I mean, there can't be a vaster branch than internal medicine. Yeah, that's it. So have a good day. Make your choice very wisely, and take it slow, talk to 10 people about it, and then you can choose internal medicine. It's definitely fulfilling in the end of the day. Yeah.
Thank you so much, doctor. And I'll end the session here. Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, Kanika, have a good day.